afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me all right on Zoom? I see we got a couple more people still filtering in, so we're just going to give another second or two. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, my name is Jacob Williams. I'm the Senior LMS Analyst here. I am joined online by my compatriot in IT, Lisa Moore. She's going to be monitoring our Zoom for us, and I will go ahead and let the IDC introduce themselves.
I'm Tyler Robinson. I'm one of the instructional designers here at the IDC Center. With my colleague in the back, I'll let her introduce herself.
Buddy, my name's Mary Adams. I'm also one of the instructional designers with the IDC. And glad to be with you all today.
I like these microphones. So first of all, we have a couple of useful links here. Mary, if you could just go ahead and move the Zoom box there for us. So each of these different QR codes will take you somewhere useful. First one will take you to information about EKU IT. Second one will take you to the information about the Instructional Design Center. On the right there, we have some options for training support, starting with the Canvas in Practice series, which is our trainings that we'll be conducting here in the FCT&L. And at the end there, we have options for meeting with the IDC for online training and consulting.
And if any of y'all weren't able to stop and see us at the tables earlier, we do have some handouts and flyers that you can take as well from here. Well, which will have these links as well.
All right.
And so as far as our trainings and support, we kind of have that getting started training for new faculty. So we would encourage you, if you've never been on Canvas before, here in a second, we're going to do some how-tos. I would encourage you to join us for that session. Because at the end of the session today, it may feel a little bit like info overload as we go through that. So that's a great session to kind of look at your shell, work through the beginning steps. So hopefully you can join us for that one. And then the hybrid sessions go through the whole semester. And there's going to, if you click on that link, you can see all the different topics that we'll be covering together. And we would invite you to join us for either one, depending on your experience with Canvas that you might be bringing with you. We're also sharing, you'll have these slides too, so don't worry about grabbing those QR codes, and those links are active as well once you get them. So
this is our kind of rough agenda. We really want this to be kind of conversational. So we're going to try to touch onto each of these topics. So we're going to lead you through how to get inside the inside Canvas, a little bit of information about the apps, how to navigate, just some general concept. Then the IDC is going to talk a little bit about the template and some good practices. At the end, we're going to kind of reiterate what we've talked about a lot these last couple of days, which is how to get help if you ever need it. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and switch back over to Canvas.
Alt.
I'll hold Alt, press Tab. Yeah. Oh, mine need to press it more than once. Oh, you're holding it. There you go.
Okay.
So to log in, we're just going to go ahead and click that top link there. But before we do, keep in mind, this is learn.eku.edu. There's a couple of items here, which I've shown a lot here. If you just want to scroll down slightly here, Mary. You see on the second box there, it says create an EKU IT service desk / IDC ticket. It's a really good thing I got new glasses because I can actually read that from here. Yep. And we have a couple of other items there. There's some stuff there about how to request external tools to be added, how to access our trainings, and how to access any kind of new features that might be coming. On the bottom there, we have different guides for how to get started, how to connect to the Canvas resources, both for students and for faculty. And then on the left, we have our links for actually installing the app if you are the kind of person who likes to organize through your phone. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the top there and click that login button for us. And then I'm going to come over here and type in my credit.
And please do not let what you just saw me do with technology deter you from reaching out to it.
What's your password?
There you go.
Not today. I have this IT thing on my chest, and if they'll rip it right off me if I'm telling people my password. All right, so when we first log in, it's going to take us to our dashboard. Our dashboard is going to contain a collection of our courses. By default, at the very top, it's going to have our published courses. We can actually click and drag those around if we want to by clicking any of the boxes and just dragging them about. And if we click those three little dots in the top right corner, which, fun fact of the day, that's called a kebab in internet design. That's a kebab. Yeah.
Like a steak kebab?
Yeah, just exactly like it. 3 little dots in a row. There you go. Learn something already. So by clicking that, you can actually give a nickname to your course. So I'm going to put Mary on the spot and make her be creative right here in front of everybody with no warning. But you can give a nickname to that. So you can call it your Monday, Wednesday class. You could call it your class that requires maybe a little bit of extra patience, whatever you want to call it. Keep in mind, your students will not see your nickname. This is solely on your side. You can also choose a color, so you can color code these. So you can have your Monday classes one color, your Tuesdays another, and so forth. We click the little 3 dots on the top right, which again is called a kebab, on the very top of the screen. It's small. There you go. You can change the view here. This is more for students, but you might be familiar with this for their sake. Going to list view will show you each course in order of things that are happening. And if we click that again, there's another one that says recent activity, which I don't have any recent activity, so it's going to be kind of blank. Oh, looks like we actually have one, so that's nice. If we go back to our card view there, Mary, we can actually click that 3 dots up on the top right again, and there's an option that says color overlay. That's if you don't want that tint applied. But we're going to go down the left-hand side here, talking about the what's called the global nav bar. First button there on the very top is account. We're not going to go into super detail there, but I recommend playing around with those, especially the notification area, which we'll reference again in a bit. Below that, we have our dashboard. So if ever you need to come back, there it is. Third is courses. Courses is actually kind of important. One common ticket we get is people are afraid that their courses just disappeared on them, because sometimes it'll be on their dashboard and then from some mysterious Canvas logic, it'll hide it again. If ever that happens to you, you can refine it by clicking courses and at the very top, all courses. Now at the very top of this list, we'll see our current courses. And if we scroll down, just like on our dashboard, we'll have our past and then future enrollments. We can, yep.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right. So if we ever want to put a course on our dashboard and we don't see it there, all we have to do is click that little star to the left of it, and that'll manually move it onto your dashboard. But keep in mind, if you have anything favorited, only favorited items will show up. So that's how that kind of works. Below courses, we're going to skip groups because you guys won't have those. That's a me thing. And then we have calendar. Calendar is another thing that's really useful for students in particular, but also for you guys. Every assignment you make will automatically add itself to this calendar based on the due date it has. And you can actually even click any given cell here on your calendar, and you can actually create items directly here. You can have events, you can have assignments, and you can have to-dos. And if you click event, if you click assignment on the second tab there, you can actually set up a placeholder for an assignment. And then by clicking more options on the bottom, you can actually go into it.
Is there a way for students or even faculty to transfer that calendar to their outlet?
Yep. So go back to the calendar for us, Mary. On the bottom right there, there's a little button that says calendar feed. That is an import link that you can put into your Outlook or Google Calendar, and it'll synchronize. But keep in mind, that's a one-way street. You can put your Canvas stuff into your external calendar, but you can't put your external stuff into your Canvas calendar. One directional. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Moving down the list, we have Inbox. Inbox is a means of communication with students on Canvas. This is kind of like email, but it's not technically email. One cool thing about it is if you send someone a message in Inbox, they will by default get an email as well. And if they respond to that email, it'll also send you an email and put it in Canvas as well. However, that notifications area I talked about earlier, students have that too. And they do have the ability to turn off notifications for inbox messages. What we recommend is either sticking strictly to email or put in your syllabus some language that says you are responsible for communications. Do not mute my class. Moving down, we have, we got a question?
If they send you a message from Canvas, it comes to you via email automatically, right?
Yes, by default. You can change that, but by default, yes.
And if I just want to reply to the email and not get into Canvas, will they get the message?
Yep, they'll get both in Canvas and in Inbox
So I
if you
can just
respond to
reply
email.
to email and never worry about it.
Correct. Yes. Yep. There you go. The duplication's nice because it can let you do either instead of making you do both. So next on our global nav bar there, we have history. History is useful for if you actually leave the class and you can't remember which class it was. This is just a list of the most recently visited pages. So you could click any one of those links and re-enter your class. Next up, we have Commons. Commons is actually fairly complicated, so I'm not going to go into super detail about it. If you guys want to play around with it, just a quick cursory note. It's basically pre-made content that other instructors have created and published to Canvas. So there's modules, quizzes, and assignments. It's kind of a big collaboration on that. We do have the ability to filter just through things people at EKU have made, but there's not a lot of those in Commons yet. Okay. Next up, we have Studio. Studio is going to be where you want to save your videos. I've talked to a couple of you about that already. But long story short, Canvas courses have a maximum file size. But videos don't count against them as long as those videos are through Studio. We'll talk a little bit later about how to put something from Studio into your course. But for now, just keep in mind that when you make a video, you want to either create it in Studio or move it into Studio. I see a question?
Or put it in studio.
So the top right button there has a create button. Go ahead and click that for me, Mary. We have a couple options there. We have Studio Capture, Screencast-O-Matic, and Add Media. Studio Capture means it's going to just kind of record you speaking, maybe record what's on your screen. Screencast-O-Matic means it's going to be a screen share, just the classic tool. And then Add Media, if you go ahead and click that for me, Mary. We have the ability to drag and drop files directly in or paste a YouTube or Vimeo link to add that into Canvas.
Do people typically record their course content here?
Often through Studio directly. I believe the FCT&L actually has a studio that's really good for course.
One studio.
Yeah.
You
Down.
get one button studio, just over here. IT has been here working over the summer, so it has had a recent refresh. And Chris can talk to you a lot more about those resources, available here as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it's the hallway down to the left of the stairs right out here, right?
No, it's right over here.
Okay.
It's
No,
right over,
okay,
it is
sorry.
that door.
That door, you can see it from your seats. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on from that, on the very bottom, and we'll talk about this again later because it's a big point. We really want to emphasize it. Do not stay stuck in Canvas very long. We have a help button on the bottom left of our global navigation with a wide variety of options. First off, we have what's brand new is called PandaBot. It's Canvas's virtual assistant. They will kind of lead you through that classic automated responses. Below that, we have Search the Canvas Guides. So that is a resource hub of all kinds of documentation and videos created by Canvas themselves about how to do a lot of stuff. Then we have the ability to submit a ticket directly with us, which will automatically route to whichever team is more appropriate for your problem. Then we have our 2 resource hubs, which is just a ton of information that you can access that's EKU specific. And then we have the ability to chat with Canvas support directly. So that puts us with one of their agents, chats with them. I've never waited more than 10 minutes to get in contact with somebody, but that line does get longer in August than it does, in say like the middle of the term.
And those are available outside of the workday too, that
Right.
well. So if you're staying up late working on something, you have a tech issue, and we may not be available right away, those are great options to get Canvas support right there as you're working.
Exactly. So below that, we also have a hotline that you can call the Canvas Live Tech. So my experience has been that those are a bit of a longer wait, but you do actually get to speak with a real person and they can kind of help you directly with that. All right. We're going to go ahead and, do I see a question? Each one of the help tools? Yeah.
I have a question about assignments.
Okay.
I just want to ask it in the
Yeah.
appropriate place.
Yeah, so right now we're going to go, so now that we're finished kind of getting started, we're going to actually go into a course and look at some specific buttons that you press to do the work that we do. So, Mary, if you want to go ahead and navigate to our course from the dashboard, that Doctor Who course. Yep. So this is a pretend course. It doesn't have any real students or real student data, and that's kind of important for FERPA. So just so you guys know, pre-caveated. When you first enter a course, it's going to take you to your home page. What you're looking at on that homepage right now is what's part of the template. So this is a homepage created by the IDC for your guys' convenience with some links that are already set up to navigate to different parts of the course that you can set up and organize for your students. If you don't like that, there's a button on the top right that says choose homepage. And from here, you can either choose to have an activity stream, which means it's going to show students the most recent changes in the course. You can have a page, which we'll talk a bit more about what that means. You can go straight to course modules when a student goes in, straight to the assignment list, or have them directly view the syllabus whenever they access a course. Go ahead and click cancel out of here, Mary. Yep, question? So those pictures, I'll let the IDC talk on that actually.
This is a pre-built template, so whenever you would have a course uploaded into your Canvas account, it's going to come with this pre-built template in there, and those pictures are just populated from the EKU repository of pictures. to change those pictures. I've seen, you have the option if you want to put your picture there for the instructor and so forth. I would say the only caveat there is getting dimensions correct and all of those things.
Yeah,
So
I
if
know
you
a
look-
little bit of the coding side of that, because if you just copy and paste it, it's gonna throw off the layout of the whole template. So if you ever have that or you want a picture, you can reach out to us and we'll help you get that in there. Unless you know how to get into the HTML coding and all that, but no, it's.
Oh, yes, they're bringing it back, right?
Yeah.
Any day now.
So
It's my top 10, baby.
really, the only thing you'll have to edit on this template page is just the name of the course right there at the top where it says English 730 topics and genre. You can go in and edit that. Everything else on that template will already come pre-installed.
All right.
Sorry, I jumped ahead. We'll talk about editing pages and how you can adjust it, but you do have some flexibility and autonomy if you want to change that look. But that is just kind of a pre-built picture.
They just looked really pretty and I was like, who spent all their time looking for handshakes?
Somebody, it was not me, so I can't take credit, but somebody in our office did. So, hi, Chris.
Probably Chris. I think he built the template.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and navigate on the left here. You'll see that we have another one of those bars. We call this one our course nav bar. If you don't see your course nav bar, it could be hidden, or if you don't want to see it and you do and you want it to be hidden, there's a little icon on the top. That's actually called a hamburger icon. The 3 horizontal bars, that's a hamburger icon. Yeah. Web developers are hungry people, I've discovered. Yeah. So clicking that will hide or reveal that. So from up there, we're going to go ahead and navigate to modules. Now, who here has any experience with an LMS besides Canvas? Okay, I see a couple of you guys. Blackboard, Moodle, right? Right. Blackboard. So one big difference between Blackboard and Canvas is Blackboard is fine with having like folders within folders within folders, and this very cascading style. Canvas enforces a more linear layout. So they want one thing after another, and they only have a depth of module and then page. So what we have here are modules. We recommend organizing modules by either units, so unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, or by week 1, week 2, week 3. Just keep in mind, they have to be linear. There's an implication that some things come before other things. If you want to create a new module, all you have to do is click the plus module button on the top right there and give it whatever name you'd like. Once again, Mary's on the spot to be creative. There you go. So that top checkbox there, that's called lock until. What that's going to do is make it so that no one can access this module until a certain date has passed. Below that, we have an option that says prerequisite. Basically, that says that they have to complete a different module before they can access this module. We'll talk a little bit later about how you define what completing a module means for any given module. But for now, we're going to go ahead and click the trash can there to clear away our prerequisite. And we're going to unlock that by clicking that checkbox on the top again. And then go ahead and add that module. And it's going to throw it way on the bottom for us. So from here, we can go ahead and start adding content, or we can go ahead and move it. Let's go ahead and add content for now. So we're going to click that plus icon to the right. One thing that's cool about Canvas is you can start structuring out your modules before you ever actually have to have content in them. So for example, if we want to create an assignment, but we don't really want to put all the instructions in and the due dates and things like that, we can click create assignment and we can click add new. Yeah, no worries. And then we're going to click add new. And now we've created an assignment. It doesn't have any due dates. It doesn't have any instructions, but it's there. So we can start structuring that out. If we go ahead and click that plus icon again, let's say we don't want an assignment. Let's say we want some content. We can change assignment to page, and we can do the exact same thing. And then once again, Mary on the spot. If you were to actually spend time in this Doctor Who course, you would find so many modules called like test 1, test 2, test 3, because we're always making these up in the middle of presentations. All right, now one big point of note here on the module screen is what that little anti-symbol there means. And you also see that some of the other ones have a check mark. Anti-symbol means students can't even see it. As far as they're concerned, it doesn't exist. Check mark means they can get to it. One common issue we found is if you have a piece of content check marked in a module, but the module is not check marked, they can't get to it. But you can still link to it, which means it's going to let them get to it, but it's going to say they don't have access. And if you don't understand why they don't have access and it's finals week, that can be a very stressful moment, as I have seen before. So make sure that if you have something published, the module itself is also published. There you go. Now, if we don't want this module way on the bottom, we want it on the top, we can click that kebab next to the module, and we can go to Move Module. And we have some options here. So you can say at the top, we can have before, after, or at the bottom. Before and after, we'll place it between different modules. So we can say before this module, before that module. And we can really structure out our course that way. All right. Go ahead and click cancel for us. Now we're going to go ahead and jump inside of our page just by clicking the link of the page we already made. And it's going to take us to this screen here. If we go ahead and click edit, we can go ahead and start adding content. So this is a big fancy text box. We call it the rich content editor. A couple of things in here are going to be very familiar. We have our font size. We have our headings. We have bold, italics, underline. We have our font color. We have our highlights. My eyesight's getting bad. Superscript, subscript. We have our hyperlinks. Quick note here, we have external links and we have course links. External links are for things outside of Canvas. Course links, if you want to go ahead and click one for us, Mary. This means that we can actually link to content in our course. So we can have our page say like, make sure you complete this assignment, and then we can click one and add it here. Or please navigate to this area, etc. And when you click that, it'll take you to the right spot. A common mistake we see is people will copy and paste the URL to an assignment and use an external. If they copy that course, it breaks because the students don't have access to that link anymore. That's the previous course. But if you use a course link and you copy it, it'll be the same content in the next one. So it's going to refer to the item itself. I know some of that vocabulary got kind of weird there. Is that kind of clear?
Yeah, especially when like next term comes and you want to copy to the next term and use the same things. Try like that's something, a little tidbit, because you don't follow your links.
And basically in a sense, you want to take any outside files and things you have. There's a file option that we'll talk about here later in a minute, but you can put that file into Canvas and then use that course link instead of linking out to somewhere that may eventually break.
So like, if you use your address as an identifier, right, like, and we move from place to place, you're eventually not gonna get your mail, but if you go by your name, which will follow you.
Right,
whether
exactly.
you're somewhere else.
Course links are local. External links are not local. Think of it like that. They're all relative to the course. All right, moving along with our rich content editor here. We have the ability to add images. So upload images, pretty straightforward. So course image and user images. Basically, if you've already uploaded it to your course, it's saved in your course files, and you can use the same image without having to re-upload it. Likewise, you can actually add things directly to your own account, and it'll follow your account. But keep in mind, you don't have a lot of account space, so we don't really recommend it. Next up, we have something very similar. We have upload and record media. We don't typically want to do that. That's because we've actually paid extra to have Studio, which doesn't count against your storage space, but this would. Yep.
Studio to the page, so if we wanted a video.
Yes,
That's part of this
and
model.
that's about to be the next one up here.
It's like right up next, how to show you how to actually add that. Yeah, you're thinking ahead, and that's good. Yep, so we have the same thing with documents, upload documents. For accessibility reasons, we don't recommend generally uploading PDFs. It's better to kind of copy the content over, but sometimes, depending on the type of course, that might be justified. Yep, question.
Help convert PDFs into a file format that's more easy for screen readers to digest.
We've worked with people in the past to do some of that. If you want to put a ticket in with us, we're happy to do that on like a case by case. We don't have any official tools that we advertise or sanction though.
If you need help converting a file to a Canvas page, you can always, that's something we can assist with, is help building it in that way.
I'm just thinking, I'd love to link white papers, right, or things from journal articles, and some of those that are older, right, if you got the two columns and copying and pasting would make you say unkind things out loud.
Yeah. So we also have, you can link those through the library. That doesn't always necessarily guarantee that will come with an accessible format. So my suggestion would be trying to somehow convert the information in the Canvas page itself in some fashion. You all also have access to a screen reader account to test it. Everybody does through the university. So if you needed to do that, we can also test it and see, even though it doesn't maybe have the correct tagging on the PDF or something, will the screen reader still operate with it? We can test that too. As options.
How much advance notice do we get that students need those accommodations?
That varies. That is the student's responsibility to contact the Center for Student Accessibility and get that documentation. They should be giving that to you emphasis That's how I should, within the first couple of weeks of class, but that varies. But you do have, the option. You have a window of time, and now I cannot think of the window of time to meet those accommodations. So like, let's say you had a big exam coming up and it's image heavy, and it's gonna take a little bit of work to convert. And then you can reach out to the Center for Student Accessibility for some support, depending on what the student specific needs are. I will say also, we're kind of trying to help faculty be proactive with that. So even if you don't have that explicit accommodation, getting your materials already ready to go. So that would be my little, little spiel, is try to go ahead and make them do the best you can to meet that ahead of time. So, but that's the process. They'll reach out to CSA, Center for Student Accessibility. They'll have their documentation, and they should be submitting that to you, so you would know exactly what accommodations you'll need to provide.
Can you just elaborate on the issue? Like, what's the issue with uploading PDF? I think on Canvas, I think I missed that.
It's just, we usually recommend not using
Okay.
PDFs
Okay.
because of the accessibility. They're
Oh.
notoriously known for not being 100% accessible.
I see.
So we always try to recommend, if you can reformat, if it's something you make, for sure,
Yeah.
go into the native platform, whether that was Word, PowerPoint, wherever you build it, make sure it's accessible there, and maybe use that process. Or making sure Adobe, when it transferred over, the accessibility features traveled with it. So it's really just a general kind of advice thing to try to avoid PDFs if you can, or look into the accessibility piece of that. My other little caveat would be, spiel, we have some accessibility trainings that we offer. These are common, this is a topic and conversation that's ongoing and will
Yeah.
continue to be ongoing.
For
And
sure.
we're here to help you problem solve that, because, you know, your work, it's a shared responsibility university-wide for that. So if you run across an issue, if you're not for sure something's working correct, we work with CSA, we can kind of partner with you to look at it and help you rectify any issues. Yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a new law where everything has to be provided cat.
WCAG 2.1.
Okay, 2.1.
Yeah.
So like, I've never, what's the, recording, the video recording one?
Studio,
Studio, I've never used Studio before. Does it automatically do that?
automatically
Yes.
captions.
And then you can just like edit it, if
Right.
it looks
Yep.
correct?
If we have
Okay.
extra time, we can dive a little deeper into studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a lot of topics. We gotta see if we can squeeze
And
in.
I do the PD training for the IDC on Studio, so I can get you my email too if we run out of time here.
Okay.
But that is the little, the infomercial for Studio, because
Okay.
it's got caption and it's very easy to edit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why we push it for you.
Speaking of studio, the next button on our rich content editor is our studio button. If we click this button,
And I like it, it's the only colored button on that.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
You missed
Yeah.
it. It's the blue octopus looking button.
TV, yeah.
Description, but there you go.
Yeah, so if you click that, it's gonna go ahead and bring you straight into your library. I got a bunch of random videos from things I've tested out. But if you go ahead and just click one, it'll throw it right into your comp course, and you can choose how students see it. For our sakes, we're just gonna go with one at random. And then you can lock the speed so they can fast forward it or not. You can, whether or not you want them to download those captions so they can actually view the transcript of this. And you can also set whether or not you want it to start at the very beginning or not. Just tons of great options here. And if we go ahead and save that, it'll,
Pick one with audio.
Ah.
Sorry.
this one, I think is just a YouTube one, so.
Yeah.
Small videos, so like 3 to 5 minutes versus a like 30-minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on the content in the course and how many videos you have. But most of the time, yeah, we'll recommend just making like module 1 videos for this module and then coming in and putting them in a line like that, then chunking it down.
So rather than building one lecture video that's 30 minutes long.
Yeah, chunk it.
Like chapter 1, module 1.
Mhm.
That's what we would.
So recent
Yeah.
research shows that that's the most easy to absorb for students.
I think there's a lot, like I
Mm.
work with justice and safety, if a law changes, if OSHA standard changes, and you need to change 2 minutes of that 30-minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
You don't
becomes,
have a lot of editing features.
Right.
So that would be my other thing, maybe you only have to record 2 minutes versus 30. So,
Right.
now I will say, when it comes down to chunking, make sure you really get a nice process of naming your videos down, because once it all goes into your whole video library account, you'll start running the, where's this video in this, all of these, 5-minute videos. So just come up with a nice naming convention.
I was really wanting with captioning for some reason.
Gotcha, yeah, totally good. So if we go ahead and click the kebab at the far right of our rich content editor, we get a couple more options. Yeah, no worries. So on the left, we have our ability to set our alignment. Then we have a couple of options for bulleted lists. And after that, I say step closer, indentation. We have the ability to clear away formatting, which is really helpful if you copy and paste something and it's just a huge mess. Just clear it all, regular text. Table, go ahead and create us a small table here so we can demonstrate another feature in a moment.
Sure.
See a question?
So, you know how sometimes you can record Teams calls, their caption? Is it possible to put those in here, so if a student misses class?
So you can download the Teams video. I think it says the MP4 from Teams, and you can just upload that in the studio and it should work. You can also download the caption separate. I think Teams allows you to pull that as a separate file, and you can actually upload a captioning file as well. That could be helpful if you have something in multiple languages. You can have the translation as a separate file, and you can upload that and have them switch languages.
Now, does
So-
Teams allow you to adjust for like, you know, Appalachian English?
I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to go back in and really, because it'll let you look at the transcript and edit the transcript. Sometimes that is necessary. In Canvas. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and I do, so I've had to do a lot of editing, just so you know, yeah, and it's, I would say it's like an 88% accuracy
Yeah.
rate, whatever, but, so, and it is really easy to edit it, so.
So next up, we have the ability to add equation symbols right next to the table button up there, Mary. You can see here we have our basic math symbols, we have Greek, we have operators, we have relationships, which are kind of like the philosophy logic symbols, arrows, delimiters, miscellaneous, and then at the bottom, we have the ability to actually use LaTeX. Which is, that's an arguable how that's pronounced. That's how I've heard it pronounced. You know.
LaTeX.
I know, I've heard it multiple ways. I'm not fighting it. But anyway, so you can add that directly there as well. Below the rich content editor, we have a couple of buttons that are really helpful. First is a little keyboard icon. For our power users, that's all of your shortcuts. They're all listed there to help you remember. And then we have our accessibility guide. We click that, it's going to tell us how many issues there are and to help us immediately fix them.
How good is it at actually catching these?
Decent.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
pretty
a
good.
catch. It's kind of like any AI tool that is gonna be an accessibility checker, so you can say it's gonna catch the things that are black and white. So if you don't have alt text for an image, it's gonna say, hey, you're missing alt text. But I could put bibbidi bobbidi boo, and it's gonna say, great, you have alt text. So again, it's an AI tool, so it'll catch the WCAG rules that are numeric, like color contrast.
Okay, that's my next question.
Yeah.
It
it'll
catches
catch-
color contrast and things like that.
And this may seem trivial, but we get this question a lot too. That accessibility checker with the little man in the circle on this page only checks this page.
Right. There is a course-wide accessibility tracker, but that's kind of outside the scope of our training today. All
But
right,
he's
but
right there.
you can make changes right there from the accessibility checker and apply them, and it'll automatically update your content so that it stays accessible. Below that, we have a word counter that if we click, will actually give us some extra information about that. Then we have for our MySpace generationers, our HTML editor there. We also have the ability to zoom in and zoom out of this text box, so we have more space to work with. The ability to full screen this text box and the ability to drag the text box to make it longer. Below that, we have some less used features, which are the ability to make it so only some students can see this page and not others, whether or not students can actually change it. On the very bottom left, we have a button you can press to, oops, sorry, no, I'm going ahead of you. To actually notify students so they know that we've changed something. And then on the very right, we have the save button, which we want to make sure we press.
Yeah. Save button's very important.
Save your life. One last thing I want to talk about on pages before I hand it over to the IAC is these three dots, the kebab, next to the edit button. There's a view page history button. We click that. It'll actually let us revert the page to previous iterations of it in case we accidentally paste over everything we did and have to start over.
And you'll want to,
And you'll
No,
want to
that's it.
eventually, yeah.
3 dots, kebab.
You want to hit the-
And if you can't find something in
Huh?
Canvas,
Vector
it is
undo
hidden by
button.
the.
That's what I'm not gonna delete, yeah. I was gonna take the SOS.
So 3 dots, page history.
Put it out the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, when in doubt, kebab. One last thing I want to show you guys before I hand it over to the IDC, while on the subject of fixing, accidental disasters. Up there in the URL, we have eku.instructure.com/course/number. That number is your course ID number. It's always unique for your course. We put we delete everything after that number, and we go slash undelete and press enter. It's gonna show us everything that we've ever deleted in the course, and let us bring it back into our course,
Whoa.
Which-
Which
which can save your life.
Jot that down, that's a big one. That's just a nice tidbit, trust me.
Yeah. Pro tip.
So we delete the course number.
Huh? Yes.
You go up to the.
Everything after the number, so it's gonna be slash courses, slash number, slash undelete.
And that number is different than your CRN. So just, that doesn't match beautifully sometimes. So if you call us and I'm like, what's your course number at the top? You know, that's just two different numbers sometimes to access your course there.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to the IDC, who's gonna continue talking about some more design stuff.
Sure, what's up?
Can we get a backup of the whole course, on a local system, or is it all on top?
So your question is, can you get a backup of the course? The answer is yes. If you go to settings, you can export the entire course and you can have it as your own backup, or you can put a ticket in with us and we'll make you a copy of it that we'll keep in Canvas for you. So either way.
Any other general questions? But this will be the same vibe, so just interrupt at any time as we go through. Can't remember Tyler's name.
That's what I was pulling up. We've covered a lot of mine. There's one thing I will hit on real quick, depending, how much time do we have?
So 2:15.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'll be quick. So real quick, if you go back to the modules and to the page we were talking about. So back to the Canvas Studio real quick. There's actually 3 ways to get into Canvas Studio. It's talking about first one being that global navigational bar over there on the left that is pointing at the big maroon bar. That's when you click that, that's going to take you directly to your whole account. Every video that's tied to your account. Your course navigation right here is going to have a studio button as well. When you click the studio button here, it's going to take you directly to the studio library of this course, right? Now, that third option was the one we talked about that's in the rich content editor. When you're in the rich content editor, you can select that little blue button up there at the top right where it was. And when you do that, it's going to pull up primarily to, I don't remember if it pulls up to the library or the page course, but you can switch it with the drop down.
Library is what it pulls up.
Yeah. So it's going to start with your library, but you can switch it straight to that course only. Now, the create button, you were talking about just a minute ago, can you record elsewhere and bring it in? Yes. Like Zoom, some people like that Zoom style where you can present, have yourself in the corner. You can do that on Screencast-O-Matic too, by the way, if you like that Zoom style. But if you've already have and you don't want to redo the video, download that video that you already have done and hit add media. And then on that left-hand side, drag and drop and upload media there. Now, the reason I want to reiterate all this is I'm not going to go too heavy into it, but any video you put into Canvas Studio, you can make a quiz out of. You can make an ungraded quiz, a graded quiz, or just a learning check, right? And that's a little bit more into the weeds, but when you're in your library, if you hit that kebab right there, you'll see quizzes. And right below quiz, it's going to say add quiz. Now, once you make a quiz, it's going to ask you come up with the name, put all the questions. But once you make a quiz, you see the little airplane, little symbol at the top right of that video?
Yeah, I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. If you ever see that, that means you have already made a quiz for that video. All right. Now, you can make multiple quizzes per video. So if you use the same video in a 100 course as a 200 course, you can still have those different quizzes on there. And then when you're uploading it into the page, it'll ask you, do you want to bring in the quiz? Now, like I said, this all kind of gets into the weeds. I'm not going to go too far into it. On the training, there is a IDC Studio thing, which you'll get me, and we'll spend a lot of time and even more so if you want. But it's a very nice feature. One of the most underrated tools I have found in Canvas. Other than that, I think that's, yeah, I think we've covered everything. So I think, yeah, the speed grader and
Only?
speed grader and the hub.
Okay, I shall do it.
Before you go.
Yeah.
You say create a quiz for the video. Is that AI generated or you're doing it yourself?
No, you're doing it yourself.
Right there, okay.
And it has quiz question types like true, false, multiple
Yeah, it's
choice.
got-
You can do a couple of different options.
But to your point, right, so if you have the same video for a 100 and a 300 level course and you import
imported the quiz, but you were gonna make it, you know, more appropriate for a 300 level
Mhm.
course. Will it change the original quiz, or is there a way?
No, so when you drop down, it'll say add quiz and the quiz you already made, you just add another quiz. And then when you're implementing your course, it'll show you see how it says quiz and then quiz 2? It'll show you all the quizzes you've made and you just select the one you want when you put it in the page.
That, let's say I have 2 courses that are using, well, the 100 and the 300 both use quiz 2. So if I change it in the 300 level course.
It'll change it in,
Mhm,
yes,
yeah.
if you change that quiz, it's gonna change it in both
You'll need
places.
multiple quiz.
So
Okay.
quiz
Yeah.
2, 300 level, quiz 2, 100.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of putting the quiz directly with the video than just doing a quiz in your course, like under the model?
There's not, there's
not,
just
okay.
different, it's kind of your personal choice of how you want to do things.
I've seen faculty use it like, I want to make sure you're watching this lecture.
Yeah,
So
a lot
I'm
of
gonna
it's
sit
more
there.
like learning chats kind of thing.
Yeah.
But some
But it's
people,
Just loop it.
It reads to the
right?
graduates.
yeah, and it'll loop it and I'll show you how to do all that. But yeah, you can make it graded or ungraded. So a lot of people will do it ungraded and just use it as a learning check. But you can add, essentially stopping points where they have to hit continue to move on. That's in a different area other than the quiz, but
Or they have to get it right before the
yeah.
video continues. So again, these
Yeah.
are just some engagement pieces, probably.
So
not
there's-
perspective.
yeah, there's a lot of really cool things we can get into in Canvas but
Yeah.
in order to get this, but I'll be sticking around. So if you want to talk about any of it today, you can.
Sure. So,
Or into that studio,
Can you
import it in MP4.
Yeah, so you can, using that add media button, you can pull in any local files you have on your computer and pull it into,
And then you can create the
Yeah.
quiz.
now the problem with that is though, if you have something on your local computer and it doesn't have a transcript, when you put it into Canvas, it's not gonna make a transcript for it. So if you make it from scratch, Canvas will make a transcript, but if it's something already done and you upload it in, it may not have a transcript, so,
Right, but you can then generate a transcript.
Yeah,
Based on video.
yes,
you just might, it takes a couple
it's a few extra
minutes to
steps,
process
but-
it or whatever.
When you do those quizzes, does it bring the quiz question up at the point in the?
Yeah, wherever you want it, it'll be like a drag and drop bar,
Okay.
and it'll like play the video, and then
Where
you
you want
just
it.
pause it, and then you put the question wherever you want it.
And you can make it where the students can see your stopping
Yeah,
points or
or-
they can't. So, okay, it depending on what again, the why behind the activity.
Go.
I kind of
Yeah.
said, there's a lot of security things, like when you're talking about locking and unlocking modules of, are you teaching a 100 level course or are you teaching a graduate level course? A 100 level course, you're gonna want a lot more structure that they can only do certain things. For a graduate course, you probably have a little more trust in the students, so there's a lot of those kind of features in there that.
All right. Sure. So I'm going to show you just a couple of tidbits for getting started that I think will be helpful. The first thing I want to show you, so if you look there at the white navigation bar on the left, if you scroll to the very bottom and click settings, one suggestion we have is you don't want students to they don't need to see what they don't need to see, right? Make it easy, this is what I want you to look at. So what we suggest is clicking navigation. So we went course settings, navigation. And here you see basically everything there is visible to students on their menu bar in your course. So we say less is more here. So if you're not utilizing that in your course, you can drag and drop it by using, I don't know what the eights, but gripper. Sorry, it's not food. I want to. What? The one thing I want to talk about is not food. Okay, anyway, but you can drag and drop it. So if you're not using perusal, you can drag and drop it below. If you're not using all of those features, we would recommend doing that. And at a bare minimum, showing them a home screen, your syllabus, and modules. And if you have a textbook, an e-text, that is, and you've worked with the bookstore for it to be synced, that's here under course materials. And again, if you don't have one, I would suggest removing course materials if it's a hard copy text too.
And
So-
to that note, we do get a lot of people that I call it Blackboard brain, because they've been here so long or they've used Blackboard so long, they want the files and the assignments and they take away the modules. Technically, you can do that, but the way Canvas operates, it's really nice and the layout works really well for just the students that have the modules. They won't necessarily need that assignments, quizzes, discussions and all that. You can put that modules there and that'll encompass all of that.
And so one other tidbit is anything that you have as an assignment, if you leave that assignment tab open, sometimes students are tempted to go there and just go to the stopping points and avoid your module work. So just kind of think about what do you want visible and not. Go ahead, sir.
Couple of quick points about that. If you don't want to drag those all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
down, you can click a bob, click disable or enable,
And
and
that'll
that'll
pop it.
automatically move them for you.
Same thing at the bottom. If you click enable, if it's all the way at the bottom and you don't feel like
Exactly.
same thing, it talks to each other.
Next thing you know is these little eyeball icons here. That basically just means that you can get to it, but students cannot. Some things Canvas won't let you hide from yourself. Assignments, pages, files, outcomes, rubrics, all these things. You can always get to them. You can't make them go away from your own course navbar, but you can hide from students. I see a question.
So this may not be this. So with the change with Smart Book from being incorporated to now they have to actually pay a fee, if you've got course materials, do they automatically charge and have to get the book? Or do they have any option not to?
You'll need to discuss that with the bookstore.
Okay.
They're the ones who kind of send out those licenses and actually handle the connection between the bookstore and Canvas. So I would connect with them to get that information.
And they have
And we
kind
can
of
get
book
you
board-
the email to contact.
I was gonna say the
them.
boilerplate language they have that
We
goes out to
have the
students.
book,
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
knowing students and just financial things, I
Right.
would not shock me.
Well, and so the bookstore again has specific language depending on your course, depending on the book, depending on the licensure and how it all works. And like if it's a third party, like a Sage or something like that, publisher that you're bringing in. So again, that would be very like course specific, but they can
Okay.
help you. And then again, if that needs to come back over to us to get it activated, we
Okay.
kind of join forces
I'll
with
give
them.
you an email address.
Okay.
And then, my train of thought, I was like, there's something else I wanted to show. Oh, so also, let's move now to talk about, the grade book. So again, as you're kind of getting started, I would suggest this is a good starting point. What do I want on that navigation bar? What do I want students to have access to? Then as you've set up your course materials, I would encourage you to kind of map out your course, and I could go into a whole big session on the value of that, but we won't. But I would encourage you to kind of lay out your course, think how you want them to interact with it. How do you want those modules to talk to one another and set all of that up? Yes.
Are there any trainings available?
That's funny you asked. Yes. So I would encourage you to join us for training. We have a course mapping session and we partner regularly with folks to help them map out their courses. That's,
Before the start of them?
Mhm.
there are some, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like next week, we have one-on-one consultations. Each college has ID members assigned to that college that you can reach out to. Also, most of the members are like me, reach out to them at any time, even if I'm not in your college. So, yeah,
I'm totally.
some of us.
I'm joking, you can reach out to me. So the grade book, we get a lot of questions about grade book because obviously that's, that's kind of the heart and soul, possibly what people care about a lot in your course. This page reads directly to that assignments tab. So if you have something in the assignments tab, let's say you made an assignment, you're like, oh, that's trash. And you don't turn off unpublished assignments, it's still going to show up here and bug you and you'll have to scroll through it. So if you're like, oh, why is this so messy? Just remember this reads to assignment. So you can click on assignment, clean that up. That would be my recommendation. Clean up the assignment tab, get that in the groups you want, the names that you want, and due dates, all of that, and then come here and work in gradebook. So start and kind of clean up your course, get your modules set up, make all your assignments. And in my opinion, this is kind of one of your last stops before you hit publish of your course. In the top right, you have a gear, and then I would say this is important too. Canvas lets you set some automatic policies for grading. So if you have a late policy, you can go ahead and set that. Grade posting policy. The default in Canvas is manual. So I would maybe, depending on your style and the purpose of your grades and how you operate your class, sometimes people are like, why can't students see their grade? You don't want to get to midterm and your students have never seen their grade in your course, correct? That wouldn't be best practice. So just keep in mind the default is manual. If you don't want that, if you don't want to have to manually post each assignment, you're going to change that to automatically post. You can also, here in a second, I'll show you differentiate that by assignment. So maybe you don't care if the automatic quizzes show right away. But perhaps there's an essay and you want to be able to give them feedback before they see their overall score. You can set that essay to be a manual post. So you have some wiggle room and flexibility for how that can operate in Gradebook. Advanced, I can't remember we're not going to worry about that right now. View options. This arrange by, if you're like me and you like things to go nice and neat in order, I usually do by due date, that, or by module, and so forth. So you can change. Otherwise, it might be a little, again, it's that Canvas rhyme or reason that I don't always know. So it may have your assignments in whatever order. So you can change that. Next, you have these options where you can uncheck and check. The unpublished assignments, again, if it's kind of messy over in assignments and you don't have time to clean that up, I would maybe at least check that box because your gradebook's going to show all of it.
There'll be a big red unpublished thing under, and you're like, why do I have to scroll through 10 of these? So yeah, that's a very nice button.
And then assignment group totals. If you're not one, if you don't do like weighted grade categories or something like that, you might not need the groupings. Like students may not need to know what they're doing on discussion boards category or so forth. So you can hide the assignment group totals. You may not want to. So again, depending on your course and how you operate with grading. And then there's a color coding system in Canvas. So you'll see that it's already color coded. We have some people missing assignments. I can excuse certain students depending on the assignment and so forth. So that's where those colors come from in Canvas. And then you'll want to make sure you hit apply settings. So again, it can clean it up. It can look like we want to. If I want to do something specific on an assignment, what would it be hidden behind? What are you supposed to look behind if you can't find something? Kebab, right, 3 dots. So beside each assignment, there's 3 dots, and it gives you some options for how to operate with that assignment. So you can see you can curve grades, message students who have not turned it in. That's a nice feature.
Very nice feature.
It's a gentle reminder. You've had 8 weeks. No joke. Okay, so then you can set a default grade and all of these features. So it has some nice things. You can also, again, I mentioned that grade posting policy. This is where I can change if I want that to be manual or automatic. I can also download submissions if you need that for STAR reports or accreditation sake. You have the option to download all submissions for one assignment or something along those lines. Then, yes.
Can you talk about curving the grades a little bit? Because I ran to use it once and it says it's not kind of working. So
yes, so you need to be careful with some of the gradebook settings that you pick. So if you do choose to curve or alter grades, it's that undelete feature that's not always available in the gradebook.
So the reason why this is kind of permanent is because it applies a new value in the gradebook, and it doesn't necessarily save the previous value to revert it to. So as far as Canvas is concerned, it's as if you went through each box and manually changed that number. So the grade history would show that there was a previous grade there before, but it's not necessarily a button press to reapply the old grade. And that's why that curve feature is kind of permanent.
So, and we do have a grade, some of our trainings include gradebook features and things. So just before you do anything real fancy, double check it. It'll give you warnings like, are you sure? So read those and all of those things.
I'm pretty sure it's Gradebook and Speed Grader all combined into one. So.
If you'll click the 3 dots again, I just want to show one thing. So grading in Canvas is done by Speed Grader. And so you can either get Speed Grader from that assignment in the modules link or from your gradebook here. And again, if it's something where you don't necessarily need to see the submission, you can automatically do that and so forth. But let's say this was something this looks like maybe an annotation assignment where students had to go in and annotate that, or the faculty's annotated it, one or the other. I'm not sure. But if this was just a plain essay, it would show as that document. It shows as kind of like a PDF. And then at the top, if you've used PDF editing, it looks very similar to that. So it gives you the option to write commentary. You can highlight. You can put a text box. So depending on how your grading style and how you like to evaluate student work, there's some cool features in here. And so you can play around with that, again, depending on what the assignment is and how you like to provide feedback. The bar or the drop, I don't know what I'm looking for, the pop-up box there on the right is where you can also differentiate your feedback. You can provide a sticker, a smiley face if you want. That's kind of fun. You can also provide, if you have a rubric attached to your assignment, this is where you can click on the rubric where they fell, and that's a really nice feature, and give commentary by criteria. So again, depending on how in-depth you like to go with student work, that's a nice feature.
edit the rubric?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
there is.
Yes.
Rubrics are probably gonna be a little more complex than we can fit into our hour today. But if you wanna reach out for a training, there's a lot you can do with rubrics that are pretty cool.
Real fancy, lots of, and especially depending on how you like to evaluate, they can be a real big time saver.
Yeah, I'd love.
So-
checkboxes on-
Mhm.
Yeah.
The rubric and the comments are good. The sticker button, don't rely just on that. That's not meaningful interaction, but
Yes,
it is kind of a personal touch, but
the stickers in addition to good feedback.
yeah.
And then you see the rich content editor show up again. So just like editing on a page, same features here, you can provide that written paragraph to your students as well as video. So if you'd like to do a quick video feedback, screen share their essay, point out what you want to do, that's an option right here in Canvas as well.
Yeah, and because it's the rich content editor, you can still link back to like other course content. So like if you had the instructions or an example assignment, you can link back to that assignment in the comment section and be like, hey, please go back and review this. And you can link it straight there too. So that's nice.
A written assignment, it's gonna show up, whether it's a text box or a doc or a
Yes.
PDF, it shows up like that, and you can edit all of them the same way.
I'll say yes with an asterisk here.
With a,
With a point of no, it sounds like you wanted to go ahead. Yeah, so pretty much if it's text box, docs, yeah, file upload, those pretty much do. If you submit like, for example, like an Excel sheet, it might not do the same thing, and certain PDFs might behave a little oddly.
if
Depending,
they share their Google Doc link with
right,
you,
that will not,
that
that,
doesn't automatically
it has to be
upload
like a
here.
full upload.
you
PDFs
might
work,
wanna-
but not the actual like links like that.
Yeah, so you might want to be very specific that you want them to file upload or text box if you want to see it like that, depending.
And you can
But-
restrict those in the assignment too. You can restrict it to what they can and cannot upload.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
That's how you can download all student submissions. If you've given detailed feedback with like the highlights, all that, the rubric graded, but like let's say you need that for accreditation and whatnot, does it pull all the faculty comments and highlights as well?
It does after the fact.
After that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
right.
yeah. So after you provide that feedback, when you download the submissions, it'll have the score, because you can export your grade book and things too. There's lots of reports you can. pull.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yes, yes.
If you're using, so for that kind of situation, I would probably set up a rubric, and then you can download your rubric and have the comments for each field.
Okay, but like if you like highlight and put like text box on the actual, like on the document part, is that part?
Oh, that.
That would have to check. So the export that comes here is a CSV, and the rubrics is more of a CSV export of rubric feedback.
Okay.
So it's not as, yeah, download submissions will do it, but I don't know that you can do that.
For everybody.
Yeah, kind of piecemeal. So,
Wow.
Now I need to know, but I'll have to, after this, I'll have to look at it. Yeah, I can do it.
No.
And I'll report back.
There we go.
Okay.
we only have a couple minutes, so we gotta go.
So really the only last thing I wanted to say is we're here. We want you to know you've got lots of options for assistance, a lot of options for help, lots of training, lots of resources. So that's my only last spiel, unless you all have something else, and we'll just take questions for the last.
If y'all didn't get a flyer and a paper, come see us before you leave. We have the flyers with all those training QR codes.
Yes.
So if you prefer not to download all the submissions and you kind of grade review, but you're not gonna do all of them in one night, the students start to see their grade feature, you can start to hide that.
That all
That would
goes
be
back to that
manual
button.
or automatic.
Okay, so I did, did I even for assignments?
Yeah, you can do either one. You can do it in general.
So if I start to do it, it's like 5 grades and then I finish them all.
Any other questions while we finish?
You can go, yes, so let's take it all.
Yeah, no problem. Thank y'all.
Say that it needed. Graded files. You want those 5 to go ahead and see it. You can click the 3 dots and it's.
And if anybody needs a flyer, you can raise your hand. I'll bring it by.
Oh, probably.
So.
Okay. But it does give you the option, like, go ahead and tell these people I've graded it. Oh, it's raining. I'm slow. Any other questions for the group? Jacob, do you care to pull up the hub? I just want to show them their designers' names, and that will be kind of where we end, so they know what resources are available to. So again, I don't know if you remember at the beginning, I said could be a little bit like info overload. I know, yeah, so that's a lot. There's a ton to do. If you go to the resource hub, again, we've got an accessibility module. You've got resources galore, which can be overwhelming. I know that. But really the takeaway is the IT is a resource for you in Canvas as well as the IDC. The IDC is split up by college, like Tyler said. I joked that you wouldn't reach out to me. That was a joke. But if you'll click meet the IDC team left there, I'm just going to populate that. So if you want to grab your ID's email or their name, you can do so. It is instructional design support by college.
And Mary's actually a really good designer and really nice, even though she's trying not to be.
Keep going. So if you are interested here in a minute to know your specific designer, we can make sure you get their name and all of those things as well. Yes.
Yeah, you know the dates for the requirements for tax.
Yes. So
Dates for.
when you go to the link, see there's multiple days. Right? There's multiple days. Oh,
This is just.